Hey, what's up everybody? Grant here with OMG. Today I'm going to be going through transitions and I'm going to be showing you the most commonly used transitions and then just some of the ways to maneuver and critique each one. Pretty simple, pretty basic, but I'm going to show you this is actually a project I'm working on currently. It is a project for an anti-human trafficking group, and I did some filming for them in Europe this summer, and I'm just finishing up all the post-production, all the post-editing hopefully this week. So right here you can actually see I'm actually just hovering above an image, actually 5 different images. Each one is either the circle, the actual country, all the different text, and actually these texts, by the way, I do not create in Final Cut Pro. I actually do them in Photoshop. I'm sorry, not most of them. Depending on who the client is and if they have a specific font to be used. Final Cut Pro doesn't have the ability to change whether or not it's light, bold. This specific font was Gill Sans, and it's the light version in Final Cut. Doesn't have the extra drop down, so that's the color tone they wanted. That is the font they wanted. So all I did, real simple, was I add crossfades on here. Now there's a big difference between crossfade, fade to black, and dip to color, which are the 3 most common transitions I use. If you go over here to the Effects tab in your browser, Video Transitions, go down to Dissolve, and you have Cross Dissolve, Dip to Color, and Fade In, Fade Out. Those are the 3 most commonly used. I've honestly never used Ripple Dissolve. That's just if you want a fun kind of whatever. Yeah, you can do that if you want to. And actually, before I even begin a project, I actually drag each one of these up into my favorites so I don't have to keep going back to the drop downs. So I do those 3, and then the 2 other most common things I use is looks from Magic Bullet Looks, as well as color corrector. So I keep my dissolves right here. First one is actually, let's just go with the fade in, fade out, and I'm going to show you just the fade in, fade out. This is the only one that will take every image you have, no matter how many layers, and it'll try to fade all of them to black. A cross dissolve won't do that. It'll just simply dissolve each layer rather than the entire piece. So I'll play this one. This is a fade out, fade in, fade out. Yeah, super simple. Now I'll show you the opening with all the crossfades. So each one is independently fading in and out. I leave this gradient on the bottom down here just a little bit longer. Now, as far as actually applying these, actually let me just show you real quick the dip to color. And you'll see this flash of white in between each picture right here. You can see the flash. That stands for Men Against the Trafficking of Others, if you're wondering what MATU stands for. So I threw some clips down here on the end. Let me just zoom in real quick. So now, if you simply only have one video bar and they're just connecting, it actually doesn't matter if you use a cross dissolve or fade to black. But if you have multiple layers, something in video 2, video 3, video 4, it will, if you try to use fade in, fade out, it will draw everything to black. So what you want to do is use cross dissolve if you have multiple layers. So in this case, I can just drag this on, and I can hover right above both, and it'll just slap right on there. And I can also do it just by dragging it onto the end rather than the center, and you can see how far it goes back. Now, now mind you, if I just hover above it, and you see it just light up, highlight around the edges. That means it's putting a dissolve on the front and the back. So cross dissolve and fade in, fade out to black will do the same thing. I can easily drag this further out if I just want to hover above the edge with my cursor. I can drag both, and if you look in the top right, you can actually see each one where it's pinpointing where the ins and outs are, where you're changing it to. So I don't need to render that. I'm sure you can understand what that looks like. This last one, dip to color dissolve. This one's just a little bit more tricky. It's the default setting for this one. You can change the default, but most it's just black. So it'll actually look like a crossfade or a fade to black. So if you actually double click it, it'll open up in your viewer, and I'm going to select the color, tap this once, starts off the blackest of black. I'm going to draw it back up. So I could pick anywhere in between here, pick a color. Obviously it's going to pick this top bar. So I'm going to go back to the center. If I wanted something else I could. I'm just going to do white. It's really easy. Now these white ones tend to be more flashes, like as if it's a flashback or something quick. And the default setting for the times is a lot longer because they're more fade in, fade out for black. So I shorten this down to very, very, very quick. I'm going to render this just so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so it skipped ahead. Sweet. I know you didn't want to wait. So when I play over this, you're going to see a white flash pop. Pop. Bam. I like it. Now, the only thing is you're going to notice on this particular clip, unless you're filming with a anamorphic lens or a certain lens which will produce this ultra wide, I use the crop setting inside motion tab, and in this case, because it's white, you will notice on the top edges it's doing everything white and not just the actual footage. So if you can be okay with that and get around that, then you're fine. I am. So that's the quick basic transitions. It's pretty self-explanatory. You know, anytime you move one, you'll see where it's being moved in the top right. Oh, don't give me spinning colors. I've got to upgrade RAM. Okay, there we go. So you can see in the top right, obviously it's not anything motion, but anything I would move right here, it would say the new time as well as what the image would look like. In the top right. God, that bugs me. But I'm going to hit undo real quick, put it back to normal. So you're going to see a combination of cross dissolves and fade in, fade out. Good song. Seriously? Isn't that a good song? I like it. Prague's beautiful. Go there. Okay. That is... Oh, no, one last thing. For all of you who are curious how to get that quick background, I've shown in other tutorials, but I'll show you really quick. It's actually really, really easy. Let me get the viewer back to normal view. If you go to this little drop down, go down to render, hello, and go to gradient. And then the viewer, it'll pop up. The default setting is left right. Now there's also The second one you can use if you want a more specific is custom gradient, but gradient you can get by fine. I'm going to go up to controls, and in the gradient type drop down, radial center. Now I'm going to go back to the video tab, and you'll see as I drag this down onto my timeline. And I'm going to zoom out in the viewer. Let's select this, and I don't like all the super black focal point corners, so I'm going to drag this out a little bit. Oh, that's nice. And double click, reopen that control. I'm going to change the color. Ooh, little violet, little too violet. Yikes. Let's try that one. Ooh, it's too white in the center. There we go. So, fool around, make your own gradients. That one's pretty cool. Whoops. So yeah, that's how I essentially got this background, just a little bit more gray and dark. So hope that was really interesting. Hope you enjoyed that. Leave me comments, questions. If you need me to do anything more specific, please don't hesitate to ask. Take care, guys.